Welcome to The Real Heal. I am your host, Dr. Renee Wallenstein, also known as the Libidoologist. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Jenn, I am so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Renee. Let's do this.
Let's do this. And let's talk about sugar. But before we do, can you just tell us who you are and how you got doing what you're doing today?
Oh, gosh. So that's the whole podcast, everyone. Okay, so I'm Jenn Edden. I'm a mom to 3. I am almost 50. I am not a fan of labels, but I am a recovering sugaraholic. That's why I do what I do now. It was normalized in the 70s and 80s. And really, even now, you don't feel I'll eat a cookie. Oh my God, Jenn ate a half a gallon of ice cream in 2 days. Let's just buy more. And so, when you're younger, Halloween, I ate all the candy in 2 days. And that was normalized. But then when you start getting into college and you don't feel well, and I got, late 20s, it was like, I got to do something about this. And I always say, develop this method we can talk about whenever. But they're like, how'd you do it? Well, it kind of saved my life. Like, that worked. Didn't eat a half a gallon of ice cream today. Oh, that made me sleep. Oh, that helped me go to the bathroom. Like, true stories. Oh, I don't have anxiety today. Why is that? Oh, I don't have cravings this month. Why was that? And so I literally discovered how to make myself feel good at almost 50. For the most succinct way I can say it. And then I started having kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's not feed them that. That's what hooked me onto sugar and had me not feel good and feel hyperactive. And don't get me started on, the 15-pound weight gain here and there, up and down. And so that's how I got here as sugar addiction expert, empowerment coach to women my age. I figured it out and saved my life.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us have to go through it first, and then we just share what we've learned, because I think that, like I always say, I'm a doctor, but what makes me even better of a clinician, professional, expert, whatever you want to call me, is that I've been through half of the things that I help women with, or most of the things.
Correct.
And I've tried a lot of things, and for me, a lot of things didn't work. A lot of things did work. And I did the same exact thing. I'm like, oh, yep, that worked. Nope, that didn't work. I think, and I, to this day, try things out. Like, someone will want me to try something. I'm like, before I talk about it, before I try it with my clients, I have to try it and I have to like it and make sure it works before I go talking about anything. So it's just not an integrity to me to talk about something if I don't really fully believe in it. So,
yes, I second that.
So sugar is a huge topic. I feel like the women in my world, we're talking about, the women that listen to this podcast, and it's generally, women 30s, 40s, 50s, again, 20s, 60s, everyone's welcome. But these are the women that are tuning in, and a lot of them struggle with weight. A lot of them, their weight issues are around the perimenopausal time, but the problem is they have a sugar habit and they don't know how to stop that sugar addiction. So we're going to take a deep dive into that. But speaking of that, why does our society have such a big issue with sugar? Why? I know you talked about normalizing it, but why is that?
I was hoping you were going to ask me, and I will answer that because I'm all about answering questions. I just want to say, what we're going to talk about, my biochemistry background. And before we got on, Dr. Renee was saying, call you Dr. Renee, I love it.
Yeah.
Was saying, I'm an osteopath. I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost went to her school. And then I went to a different school and didn't love it. And then I got certified as a holistic health coach 20 years ago. So just know what we're talking about is science-based. It's not just from my own experience, but as a biochemist, I did that because I thought, I'll go to medical school and be a biochemist, and go figure. Now my background in biochemistry helps me understand what is going on in the body. So to answer your question, what I have found 20 years as a health coach now is that the detoxification system in the body slows down. I'm just gonna say as we age, because I'm almost 50 and I've never felt better. True story. And so, but it slows down. And so the things we used to do and used to ingest, and the sugar, and that, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and just not going to eat. Come on, I've been there. Got to go to the beach with the boy, starve myself for a day. Well, our hormones in our body could take that damage we were doing. When we get older, the body becomes more sensitive. Hormones, as you know, right? They dictate everything in our lives. And for me, I teach this. Sugar cravings are simply an imbalance in the body. Where is the imbalance? And for people, it's in many places. For some, it's just one or two, but that's what happens. So we're okay, kind of, teens, 20s, even 30s. Women come to us at usually mid 40s into 60s. And all of a sudden they're like, why was this belly fat, back fat? Why can't I sleep? Why do I crave cookies? And I don't drink wine. And now I'm drinking 3 glasses and they think something's wrong with them. And I'm like, there's nothing. You have an imbalance and your body is inflamed. There's inflammation there. And it stems from the body's inability, from what I've seen and what I've studied, to detoxify the way it used to. It gets tired, the organs, especially when I own it. I've abused them for decades. And then it's like, sorry, pancreas is like, sorry, ain't going to do my job anymore. I'm going on strike. And then we have insulin resistance. And we could talk about that whenever you want. But as soon as that starts happening, pretty much everything you eat, you're going to store. And so, did I go too far?
No. That's where women
what the body's doing. It's just not happy. That's a real normal term.
And, that's the biggest complaint I hear for women. And I can resonate with that because I'm 50. I turned 50 in January. And I would say my usual tactics of like eating less for a couple of days, exercising more, it wasn't super hard. And I could drop pounds easily in the pants with it. That ended in my early 40s. I was good until my early 40s. And then I think over the last, I would say 7, 8 years, it's like, things are changing. It's not as easy. And then all of a sudden it comes screeching halt. Like it's not working at all. Like it's not that it's not happening as quick.
The gears in the other direction. Now it's like I didn't eat and I put on 4 pounds.
Exactly. Because we are much more prone to effects of stress as we age. And, I love that I'm 50. Aging is a beautiful thing. We embrace it. And there are just certain things that happen as we get older that we are just handling differently. And I think just being aware of that and how you can hack that to feel good still is really important. And so that's what we're doing today. We're just kind of like breaking down, the myths that you have to gain the weight and you have to be addicted to sugar and like, it's just a part of aging. Like everyone normalizes weight gain in women and all the things. And it's like, yeah, it happens to a lot of women because of a lot of hormonal and all in the detox system. It's tired. It's tired. It's been detoxing a long time. It like just hits a wall one day. And then all of a sudden women are like pulling their hair out going like, what's going on? So, and that's the thing. I think a lot of women, know they have an issue with sugar, but they think it's nearly impossible to cut down, like, because they have such bad cravings. So can you tell us a little bit about your method?
Because it's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
And I'm not into labeling like I'm a recovering addict. Yes, I always say this method called the sugar freedom method is an anti-addiction, anti-inflammation, but it's because people say, well, what does addiction mean? And I always say, well, if you have an emotional charge, when you take it out, there's some sort of addiction to it. It could be video games, could be food. It's definitely alcohol. People know that. That's been normalized. Oh, I have an alcohol issue, but sugar has just been normalized as it's okay to just crave it all the time. Oh, that's just what happens. Or, oh, everyone has that. I'm like, not really. The worse we get out of balance and the more inflamed, the more we crave it. It's just an indicator. Weight gain is just an indicator of an imbalance. The problem I have is we're selling women, and I won't get into too much of it because I'm not a ranter and raver, but we're selling women supplements and these HG thingies and all these things. And I don't judge it. If you're morbidly obese and you need that to get out of morbid obesity, and that can get you into a healthier range, do it. But don't you dare think that that's forever. It's a Band-Aid. It's just something that doesn't get to the root causes. And so the work we do in the sugar freedom method, I love it. It's been around in versions for 20 years, but now it's a trademarked method, about 5, is we just step by step teach you how to uninflame and just unaddict from this stuff. And I was telling Dr. Renee before we got on, don't think like I don't eat the stuff. I am not a dieter. God, you tell someone who's addicted to stuff like diet, and I'm just going to eat it behind your back 7 times more because of the psychology behind don't tell me no. So we just work on healing the gut, adrenals. You mentioned it. I think you mentioned like sleep. It's the stuff that starts to go awry as we age. And I'll say it, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, but doctors that don't know, they just prescribe. And I know because I've been at this 20 years, and I ask, what have you done? And it's typically, I've been to my doctor. I've tried this Optivia or this Noom or these drops. I've done these things. And they're like, and it kind of worked. But the catchphrase is, the minute I stopped. And so what I always say is, well, with the method, you heal from the inside out. And women love it. I'll say it with you. We're no longer changing deck chairs and umbrellas on the Titanic. Like, the boat's sinking, but new umbrella. I'm like, no. How about we plug the holes in the boat to stop the sinking and then go get a new boat? Anyone you want, also known as your body.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's what we do. So it's a healing protocol and anti-inflammation.
Got it.
Big term, but did that
No,
answer?
yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I mean, I think you're like saying it's from the inside out. The cravings stem from something else deeper down that it's not, you know, and I think the other thing I've stopped doing, aside from prescribing like regimented diets with tons of rules, I mean, I give guidelines. I'm like, okay, we all have goals. I get it. Right.
100%.
But I also am huge into like, you know, mindfulness and moderation and all the things. But I think that, like you were saying, it's like, to try to think one day you're going to just wake up and say, I'm not going to have sugar ever again. That's just unrealistic. And I think, you know, like you said, with healing little by little, your desire to get out of bed and have sugar first thing in the morning is going to be like, oh, I really don't want it today. And what I actually found is when I started cutting down on sugar. So a little story about me. I had a back injury like 10 years ago, like whatever. It's like long story, but like 2016, I did a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah, we're just gonna shut doors. Okay,
Yeah,
we're back.
no problem.
It's like 3 kids talking loud in the hallway. I'm back.
I did a bodybuilding competition.
Ooh.
I was in bodybuilding for a couple years, and those diets, they're truly diets. But the interesting thing is, because you're so exhausted and feeling so deprived that you turn to a ton of artificial sweeteners, and to the point where I actually couldn't get food sweet enough for me. Like it had to be super sweet.
Look at that.
And when I started to like detox out of that, I had this thing happen and I had to like give it up. And I sort of snapped. I always say I snapped out of it because I feel like it's a
wake up.
It's like you get into it and it's like, you know, you love all the praise of how good you look and you feel like crap though. But, and then, and then I slowly had to like, I always say detox off that sugar of like cutting down. And honestly, I could never go back to that level of sweetness again. But like, I kept having to like up level the sweetness just to make it taste good, which was bizarre. And I'm like, cause now I would try to eat some of that stuff and it's like, ew, it tastes, and not only is the artificial sweetener awful for your gut, certain ones I was having, but it was just a weird feeling, like my taste buds changed, which is
we teach that. They do change. And I love that you talked about bodybuilding because my movement and motivation coach in the method is a bodybuilder. She's a Kentucky 2-time fitness champion. Oh, Tammy. And she came in like, I know I look great, but I'm telling you now, I'm done with the lies. Can you please fix the sugar stuff? People look up to me. I'm a champion. Yeah. And I have goosebumps. And she trained me for 2 years virtually. And I'm like, you're hired, after she healed herself. And so I just love that it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
From any walk of life. I love it. And she's just one of us. She's amazing.
Yeah. You know, in that world, you have to, I'm an outlier now because I don't speak against it. I think I was in it and it served a purpose in my life and it made me who I am today. And I learned a lot from it. But I certainly know that wasn't the healthiest time of my life on so many levels, including my sugar consumption. And again, a lot of it wasn't even real sugar. Like now I probably like say eat the real sugar and not the
I say that actually. I actually say it. It's like a neurotoxin. It messes with your metabolism, stores in your fat cells in your hips. And it's just scary shit.
So eat the
one
sugar
S-bomb in. Some scary shit. My kids don't touch it.
No. And it's so crazy because I just recently
It's,
went to the vitamin shop. I don't know if you have them where you live, but
oh, I don't, but I did in New York. Don't even get me started on that junk store.
well, my son's 16
Junk
and both
store.
my son and my daughter are lifting weights and they want to build more muscle and they want me to
Yeah.
get him a protein. So I literally go into this vitamin shop and
Mm.
a wall, literally a
Mm.
huge wall going from one end of the store to the other
Powders.
with protein powders.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, great. And I walk in and I tell the guy, I don't want artificial sweeteners like sucralose in my kids' whey protein.
Nope.
And he's like, oh, I don't think that's possible. I was like, excuse me?
That's real.
And so he's like, so it takes me all the way to the end. He's like, maybe down here in the vegan proteins, we can find one.
Nope, it's there too.
And he was like, picks one up and he goes, yeah, look at this. It's got this potassium S-sulfame. I was like, nope, that's artificial. That killed my gut personally, like when I was bodybuilding. And I was like, so I did find one that had like 5 ingredients. And it did
Good.
have a sugar alcohol or like maybe a stevia in it or no monk fruit. One of the,
Right.
probably either monk fruit or
Better version, or
I think
both.
monk
I
fruit.
see it's
Yeah.
both in there. Yeah, erythritol and monk fruit and
Yeah, those are
stevia.
usually the 3 that I was like, I'm okay with. But yeah, it was crazy that an entire so here's my point. How many people are walking into that store every day
Every day.
and getting these things that are supposed to help them get fit, and they're consuming all these terrible artificial sweeteners that are just messing with their gut health and packing
Hormones, sleep,
hormones.
fat,
Yeah,
metabolism,
right. And
weight,
it's
your
like, so
sanity, your sanity. That stuff makes you feel crazy because it affects your gut.
yeah, I was irate when I walked. I'm like, he's probably thinking, oh, she's one of those. Like he stayed clear of me after that because I was like, nope, that one doesn't work either. He's probably like, I don't know what this woman's talking about. But
Probably.
it's sad. It's promoted as a health store, like it's a vitamin shop, and I think
Yes.
some of these products really give health a bad name. And so, and again, so
I'm
I
with
mean,
you. I'm with
these
you.
women are like, I don't even know. And I think a big part is like becoming an expert label reader of like, look at labels and just it's hidden in everything, especially low fat things. It's low fat, but how do they get the flavor? I had the sensitivity test done when I got out of bodybuilding, and I was sensitive to acesulfame and another, I think, artificial sweetener because I just came out of bodybuilding. That's all I consumed. And I had to give up sugar for 6 months. Do you
I
know how hard
believe
that
it.
is?
What
Oh,
do you think
even,
I do for a living? It
oh,
actually makes you crazy because it's a drug you just got yourself
oh
off
my
of
God.
and you're not getting it anymore. And we're like an addict shaking.
Yeah.
You're angry, you're cranky, you're not sleeping, your hormones are off. You're like, you get the shakes. I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
I couldn't even get turkey bacon because there's sugar in it. Like this is when I
I
learned
know.
how much
Gotta
sugar
be
was creeping in
really,
my life that I didn't
really
even know.
careful. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Like you just got to look at labels. Like I had no idea like how much I was getting. I had a slow sugar infusion all day. So I'm grateful for that test
Nice,
and the fact that I had
nice,
to like cut it out because I
nice,
actually looked at labels. Like, oh,
nice.
there it is.
And the truth is, even then, just to be totally transparent, you got to, well, we just teach this, how to understand your own body, because what
Yeah.
works for Dr. Renee or for Jenn doesn't work for you. And
Yeah.
food sensitivities cause cravings for sugar.
Yeah.
Ah, kill your gut health. I mean, your
Yeah.
gut health isn't good. So it's not like doom or gloom, please, listening to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just figure out what method, what program, what protocol will work to educate you and heal you. And I always tell people, you are golden, like educate and learn. So it's not my favorite fitness guy. I do like him, but I haven't told him yet because I don't need to get involved with his thing. Let him do it. But great. So great. It's fitness for women in 40s through 60s, like eat cashews was one of his emails. I wrote to my newsletter community so fast. Like, I can't eat cashews. I know he says it's great for cellulite and weight loss. And I was like, dude, I actually am inflamed and feel sick and my bowels go, but please don't promote anyway, don't get me started.
Yeah.
But I did write about it to my community, and it's it's a freaking fruit, which I didn't know, but I looked it up. And so, oh no, it's like, it's something different. And so you just know your own body.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do that,
Mm-hmm.
go to someone who can teach you, because the rules are always changing,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and the next health thing that they're saying is great. And I'm like, I'm just going to test it on myself with a body imbalance and then figure out if it hurts me or not. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't have totally cut out sugar because in my opinion, it's really hard for anyone, including myself, to go from Sunday eating sugar, Monday to not having sugar. Like, I would have been a
Very,
lot more gradual. However, I had the
yeah,
testing and I had symptoms. So I'm like, all
yeah,
right, if I'm going to invest in the testing, I'm going to try to do this as
yeah,
best I can.
yes,
So I
yes.
definitely, yeah, I would not, even though it's kind of up there on the list of, sensitivities for people. I am a firm believer in, like, I call them micro shifts, like starting to like
Small
dial,
tweaks, what
yeah,
I say.
small
It's
little tweaks,
very
because
important.
we
It's
both,
hard
I'm
on the
sure, work
body.
with, yep, overwhelmed,
Mhm.
stressed women. And like the one thing that's going to push them over the edge even more is if we say, oh, well, take everything out, start exercising, drink a ton of water, eat
Yeah,
whole foods.
fire that person
Yeah,
immediately.
it's like it's unrealistic. And then she white knuckles it till about Thursday, and then she caves and like,
Right there.
right,
That's right.
right.
So you go from nothing in there, the liver's trying to work to detoxify and the pancreas and the kidneys, and then all of a sudden you throw it all back in, and the body's like,
Yep,
I'm like, it's worse than the slow. I do the
yep,
tweaking method, so I love it.
yep, yep.
Besides everything I teach, I know it's similar for you.
Yeah,
This is about long-term gain
exactly.
and long-term healing. We didn't get where we are, sister, overnight. And don't you think in some 21 day, 7 day, 30 days, something they're selling you that all of a sudden you're healed. We
Mhm.
personally had 6 month high touch sugar freedom method. And all right, you could stay monthly. You learn the method. It's so cool. It's new. It's called the Freedom Club. You stay as long as you want, but that's the point. As
Yeah.
long as you want, keep healing. It ain't a quick fix. And anyone that says that, they're lying.
Mhm.
And don't allow that. Can I curse?
Yeah,
Mind fuckery, as my
yeah,
friend always says, Deb, to take over, because our
yeah.
mental state dictates our physical state. And you can talk about that as much or as little as you want.
Mhm.
Staying healthy here and really feeling good about yourself and confident and trusting yourself, and not, oh, I let myself down again. Look, I
Mhm.
failed. To me, switching that is module 3 of the method.
Mhm.
Confidence, tuning in, understanding yourself,
Yeah.
so that, it's a
There are so
quick
many people
diet.
that are so
Yeah,
out of
it's been
tune with
bad.
their bodies, and they've been chronically
Yeah.
dieting that, when you follow the rules, like you can only have this many macros, you can only have this, you got to cut out this food group. And number one, we start
Mm,
obsessing. I know I did when I was a bodybuilder, I obsessed about having my carbs and my low carb days. I
yeah,
tried keto. I obsessed more about carbs. Like, I've tried them
yeah,
all. Like I said before we started,
me
I've tried
too.
everything because I want to experience it myself.
Yeah.
But I think, I feel like we can't. I think if it's more of a moderate approach and like very mindful of like what you're literally doing, like, like I'm very mindful now when I have sugar. I'm like, yep, I'm
Yes.
having that because I really want.
But can I add on to that, just for
Yeah,
women who have a real sugar addiction?
yeah,
Because I respect everything you're saying. And
yeah.
some women cannot have sugar in moderation. And I just want
Mm,
to honor, especially given my field of work,
yeah, absolutely.
I am a recovering sugaraholic. I don't love a label, but it gives you an idea. And I know once it's in, especially cane sugar, that is the mother of all drugs, and high fructose corn syrup, because it's so processed that actually I have a it mentally changes my brain.
Hmm.
So if that's you and you're listening to us, please also just know, A, there's help.
Yep,
B, we hear you.
yep.
And C, you have to decide what works. I group it. It's
Hmm.
very often I really don't ever touch cane sugar. Yeah, with the kids, let's have some ice cream, but I know what I'm in for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I literally eat it responsibly. My kids know, because it can alter your mental state.
Yep.
Now, there's the honey and the maple syrup. And for me personally, and coconut sugar, for me, less of a pull. But I'll talk to the kids like, "Ooh, anyone else want a third cookie?" They're like, "No, mom." I'm like, "Because they're calling mama," and they giggle with me. But I just teach them. And one of my kids
Yeah.
does have a little more of a pull. She has some gut health issues related.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
just wanted, if someone hears that and but Jenn or Dr. Renee, it's a light switch for me.
Yep.
I'll binge for 3 days.
Mm.
Well, and you got to take a look at that.
Yep.
You got to do healing. And
Hmm.
once you're healing, you have to see if you have less of a draw.
Hmm.
About 5% of women, even after healing, they still have this light switch. And I say, well, the way alcoholics, that alcoholism, I don't really like the labels, but the alcoholism is there, especially if you're predisposed like me,
Hmm.
bipolar, all sorts of disorders in my family, depression, anxiety, bipolar. I have to share that. And my father's had more addictions than I care to talk about. I am predisposed to addiction. And so I'm just mindful is what I
Yeah.
want to say. I know, and my method will be like, all right, this is how you control it. But I don't have like, let's eat a brownie once a day, moderation. I'm screwed.
Yeah, no, that works for me now. It didn't work for me back then. Like I literally had to cut sugar out for 6 months. I couldn't have it.
It's
And
good it
and
works.
now, and then when I kind of revisited, came back, I don't have that same level of the brain hit when I get it.
And that pull. Yeah.
In that pull. Like I can have a cookie and walk away. Like I'm like, I don't need to.
Nice. That's
Well,
not everyone. She's amazing.
no, but that is years. I'm telling you, I did this food sensitivity testing in 2019. It was my last test, I think. So it's been a while that I've been like working on this.
Still great.
And then I, like you said, like when you start finding that you're having more sugar, I have to kind of tune in and like, how's my stress level? How's my gut? Like what is going on here?
Right
What's
there.
off? Right.
Right there.
And I think, this is kind of a point I was trying to make. This is why I have an outline because I go off and my brain starts working. But when we diet and we take all these things out, we stop listening to what our body is saying to us. Right. Like we don't listen to how our energy is. We don't listen to, are we satisfied with what we're eating? There's a difference between, like if you're hungry, like, are you truly hungry, or are you just having a craving? Or are you just bored? Or you just stressed? And this is what you do. And, like,
you just skip a meal and your blood sugar swinging. It's so many
the
chemicals that cause you to crave it. There's so many chemicals.
And I think sometimes we're so disconnected. I know that at least when I even ask them how they feel, they don't even know what good feels like anymore. Like they're so far gone. They don't even know how they want to feel. They just don't want to feel how they're feeling the day they talk to me. So I think what we're both agreeing on here is like, you need to tap into what's best for you and listen to your body. Because like you said, if you have that sugar and your brain goes haywire, it's like, that's probably not, unless you want to continue to feel like that, it's probably not the best thing for you to.
Right. And I don't care what your friend, your neighbor, your spouse, your kids, I don't care. Everyone's brain and body is different, and you really gotta care less. I always say it's not FOMO, it's JOMO. And that's not for me, right? Fear of missing out. It's actually the joy of missing out. Oh, at a birthday party. Oh my God, I was having the cake and having a mimosa. Okay. Well, it doesn't really work for Jen because on Monday, I really want to be functioning. And it takes me like 3 days to function after that. So I joyfully don't participate. And if it's Christmas Eve with the 50 Italians and 62 desserts for 50 Italians, my cousin made that, I'm having it, right? Like, and I'm going to enjoy it from the cousin, and I'm off for the rest of the week, but it's really that serious in my world. And I teach that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think but again, you make that conscious decision to have it, knowing that, okay, what do I have coming ahead? And I think another thing we're kind of alluding to here is it's kind of outside of the weight loss realm. Like that's a nice side effect, but like when we really want to, feel our best, I think a lot of women feel like their health deteriorates in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So what are some things that they can do to help make these the best decades of their life? What do you think?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, let's go.
Because I know I know. I mean, with sugar, but
also weight loss is what like Jen, I don't want to look like you, but I want my body version back of you where I don't look bloaty and you had 3 kids. And by the way, someone told me like, no filter. Like I kind of look like this. I got like no filters. Like, let's go. It's because the body deteriorates a little slower for me than others, right? Because when you eat well. And so to answer your question, gosh, there's so many places to go. So what people don't realize, and I ain't judging it, but youthfulness really does come from eating less processed food. And I realize it's like, what came first, Jen? Like the chicken or the egg? Because it's hard to get off it. Okay. But also just know, other than wanting to just lose weight, that will happen when you bring inflammation down, that stuff ages us. People drink a lot of alcohol. You do get wrinkles. It's because it ages you. So number one, I just want to say, just know that it ages you, those foods. So just link it, not makes you heavy, but it ages you because we like to feel youthful. We talked about this. Maybe we did before, we got on today, like sleep. Sleep is underrated. It's like, I'm like, really? You would like to lose some weight, some inflammation? That's what we say in our world. You want to have less pain? You need to sleep. It's not just energy. Like, no. Body heals and detoxifies when we sleep. Ain't sleeping, ain't healing. I don't care how many supplements you take or how much organic kale. I don't care. I need you to sleep. If you don't know how to sleep, talk to us. That's what we do. Doc and I, right? And so sleep. Number 3, I'm going to say it because the truth is like, oh, you must exercise a lot. No, I know how to do it for my body now.
Yeah.
And when I'm tired, girlfriend doesn't hit the gym and like crank it out. On my good days, I do. And that's great. I have muscle definition. But like, we cannot kill ourselves in the gym, ladies. I have a friend, she's like, you got to do spin class. I'm like, all right, because my lower half is always, let's just say, my challenging area, right? I still look lovely, but so I have some cellulite, and that's just the J-Lo. That's just where I carry, if I carry anywhere. She's like, gotta do spin classes, spin classes. I went, I'm like, all these cool women are here. I went home, I had to sleep for 2 hours. People will be like, I'm just gonna go. I was like, I can't do what you did for 90 minutes. So why not? Because I'm not good after that. I have like, I was really not well, and I got scared. I couldn't do what they were asking of me at my age with my energy and what I do. I have a business, I have a woman-run business and 3 kids, and it's sugaraholic. Like, I always got to check in. And so, like, just don't kill yourself. You don't have to be like, oh, class. I look like this, Body by Tammy, my colleague and dear coach. I do a lot of, right, like full body stuff. Yeah, I can do pull-ups now. That took me 3 years, ladies. And I don't do them all the time because I didn't sleep well last night. And I was like, I ain't doing that today. I did a light leg workout.
Yeah.
Is that like, and I came home and I ate a nice protein breakfast. I had smoothie today versus my eggs. And like, right, that's how I do it. Is that, and so it's like, and the stress, let's just make that the last thing, except for running out of time. Okay. I don't care how clean your diet is, keto, this, that. If you have stress, cortisol releases. When cortisol releases, it inflames the body. It's a stress hormone. When it does that, I mean, I had to Google it to make sure, because sometimes it's like all these years of training, but I was like, oh my God, that's right. No matter what you eat, stores. So when women come to me, I don't know, do I eat like 1,100 calories, 800? I'm like, first of all, I don't think you're eating enough. What? Yes. And number 2, because that kills your metabolism. And number 2, I go, oh gosh, everything you're eating, because you're so tight with your businesses and the in-laws and the stress and your schedule's tight. I go, you're not going to lose a pound. Really? Yes. Because stress and sleep and not killing yourself at the gym and not eating so much garbage, they're a marriage. And when you do them together or don't do them, the body will change. You just have to do it consistently. My episode is over.
No, I
there
agree.
you go. That was it. That was the method. And while I'm at it, we help heal your gut in module 6. And I take you food shopping and little Italian videos of me with the foods, please. And so I just like, here you go. And all you got to do is just ask us for support.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
Really, with all due respect, that stuff works. That's literally all you need. And I don't say that lightly.
Yep, I agree. And I think women are like beating themselves, their heads against the wall when they're coming to us eating 800 calories and doing 3 hours of cardio a day. Like, that's a huge stressor on your body. And, you know, as our hormones are changing, estrogen really helps us manage stress. And once it starts fluctuating in perimenopause and menopause, we're not as resilient to stress, I'm sorry to say, and our bodies aren't either.
It's true.
So we really have to have more grace on ourselves, and yes, eat a little bit more. I'm not saying eat in excess. I'm saying eat more, fuel your body, get it nutrition, and maybe don't do those 3 hours of cardio. Maybe take
definitely don't.
An hour walk, right? And strength training. I'm a huge believer as we age.
Mandatory. It's
mandatory, like strength
build
training,
muscle,
whether it be lifting weights, body weight, whatever you can do. But like walking is a huge stress reliever, and it gets movement in. Like, you know, 2 30-minute walks a day. Get out in nature. It's perfect, right?
Sweating a little, body's detoxifying out of the skin.
Yeah.
I love that.
And you're in nature and you're de-stressing and you're smelling hopefully clean air and you're listening potentially to the birds. And like, it's a nice natural stress reliever, and something that I personally do, but I also recommend it for a lot of the women, that because a lot of women that come to us, like, probably they don't lift weights. They've done zero movement. They don't exercise. Like,
and they think you need to be at the gym for 5 days a week. And I'm like, no, you don't.
That's the thing.
Just start moving.
Yeah.
Listen,
start walking.
if I can just say, I only go to the gym and I have my friends there. It's like cheers, we say here in Flagstaff, where everyone knows your name. 70s, 60s, a lot are veterans, and yeah, a lot of like younger women, but there's like 10 of us at any one time. But I say it because you could even hear how I'm talking about it. It's 4 minutes away. If I leave the Jeep, key in, and I've killed the battery yet again, I could get on my bike and ride a half a mile. And I do like 25 minutes. I enjoy myself. I play my Dave Matthews Band ad nauseum. I do a little singing. I enjoy myself. I come home. This isn't some like
torture.
Gotta get it done. I ain't doing it, people. I got enough stuff to do in my life. Did you hear I have 3 children and a husband and a business? Like,
I know. I get
it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. The method is simple, fun, and easy. And it's not some marketing ploy. It's simple, fun, and easy, or you don't do it. Because that's what makes it a permanent lifestyle change.
Exactly.
So don't let anybody like, I got hard 90. My friends ask, I go, are you really texting me that again? What's the first word? Great. Hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm simple, fun, and easy, people. I ain't doing anything hard. Anyway,
exactly.
So moving on. Gosh, it all matters.
Well, and I think I was gonna ask you how we fend off sugar cravings, but I think you've already kind of answered that by like
forgive me. Did I not?
No, I think no. These are questions like I just like.
Oh, good. Let me just say chemicals cause cravings.
Yeah.
So if you're doing everything else we're talking about and you're like, but I still, take a look at your yogurt, take a look at your dieted cereal, take a look at your little packets of thingies, the gum you chew. Okay, it's got chemicals. Chemicals cause cravings. Women come, I do everything right. I got it. I'm like, just tell me what you drink. Just let me show me the tuna you eat. Just let me see the cottage cheese. Let's just look at stuff and not feeling bad. And they don't know. And that's what we teach. We just educate without feeling obsessive.
Yeah. I always say it's more of a, we're much more clinical. Like, let's just use that as like, let's just study. Like, even how we feel with cravings, like, okay, it's just feedback from your body. And like, now let's just get very clinical. Don't feel guilty about it. Like, so you had a craving, right? Like, so what is going on that you're having that craving? Is it like, so like, just, I think so women are so good at guilting and shaming ourselves that like we don't know how to step back and just observe as to what's going on.
Yeah, that's taught. Let's stop teaching our daughters that. I teach mine. I feel bad. What do you feel bad about? Wasted emotion. True story. I tell them wasted emotion. We don't feel guilty in this house. Do you feel bad? You lied to mom? Okay, don't lie next time, but don't feel bad. They keep telling me when they lie to me. They're cute. They're 10, 13, and 15. I'm like, don't feel bad. Just don't do it next time. And did I do something that made you want to lie? And so we just do this investigative thing, but I refuse. Okay. And let me just say one quick thing on this. When you guilt or shame yourself, you have lost the lesson you were about to learn. And that's why I don't do that with my kids, because my mother did that and I always lost the lesson. But when they sit and ponder why they lied or why they ate that or watched too much TV, and I don't shame them, I refuse. Causes all sorts of terrible things in the body, and it's a wasted emotion. Totally agree. With all due respect, ladies, and this is not a judgment, just please don't teach our kids this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Don't do it to ourselves and don't teach our kids. And so I work very hard as a former Catholic, 100% Italiano. Shame and guilt is like, you inject that. Oh, baby's born. Italian Catholic.
I know I'm a Catholic too, so we can make fun of that because
it's like Italian. The Italian guilt. Your mother cooked that. You're not going to eat it? No, mom. It's going to give me a bellyache, but I love you. Oh God, mom. Yes, but I love myself more than what you cooked. So I can't eat that today. I mean, it's just, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Well, standing up for yourself too, right? Like, standing up for what makes you feel good or not.
That's right.
Good.
That's right. Good.
Last little question. Speaking of supplements, do you think, or do you use, or do you believe in supplements to help? So I have a take on supplements. I do like supplements.
So do I. They have their place.
Exactly. For instance, when I work with women with a really low energy, sometimes certain strategic supplementation that they might be deficient in might help with their energy. And
100%.
that just gets them showing up for themselves every day
100%.
to maybe take the next step of maybe taking a walk, maybe choosing one healthy meal in a day.
100%.
So are there any, so when women are listening and they're like, okay, I'm really working on that root cause and healing my gut and getting my sleep, like, is there anything that I can take to help me with the cravings while I'm working on the underlying causes?
Oh, that's a great question. So yes, there's a leaky gut protocol I love. I just get concerned about just blanket stuff. But I will say, so for those who don't know what glutamine is, an amino acid, so glutamine is great for sealing the gut lining. You can't really go wrong with that. You can't. Sometimes women will get intestinal stuff. So I'm always like, well, we got to talk about that. That's what we remove. If you have intestinal issues, slow it down or let's remove it. Something going on. That's very rare, but it happens. It happened to a woman last week. I'm like, well, might be that. So that's number one. A good probiotic, please hit one of us up. There's so much garbage out there. Got one or two I like that I found that I can feel the difference. Listen, you can't go wrong. I'll just say it, like with the vitamin C, you can't. Please watch the magnesium stearate and all the cheap fillers. But I'll do, like for me, especially a lot of stress going on right now, a blanket adrenal support. I just don't do it for years. Blanket adrenal support. I started taking a multi. I'm like, I can feel the need for a multi. I love the brand Pure Encapsulations. I mean, I got no problem sharing a couple of my clean brands, but you could never go wrong with a good multi. You could never go wrong with vitamin C. In the winter, you could never go wrong with a good vitamin D. Already low. And I'll do some research. Oh, I have a sore that I had this canker sore. It was weird. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's zinc and potentially a couple of other things. And I got it to go away with a really good multi and some zinc. And now I'm back off it. And so I know I'm kind of all over the place, but for sugar cravings, it's a gut issue. I really need you to work on that. I always say a good digestive enzyme, some glutamine and a good probiotic. And sometimes whatever you're on for supplements, we actually need to take out and it helps your cravings. So I'm not working with this beautiful audience listening, but sometimes it's what you're taking that's causing cravings. I had a woman drop. I'll just say it. She released, it was Gail, her endocrinologist called me. Listen, this is not typical, but I was like, how fun. It's like, I can't guarantee results at you, Gail. 63. She's like, I'm coming. 50 pounds, 60 days. I have never seen it. It just was full. I'm like, and she was healthy and she was eating. She wasn't even exercising yet. I found out. And her endocrinologist called, what happened? I go, her body uninflamed. We took her off of 90% of those damn supplements that someone sold her. She read online, infomercial, and like between getting the things out that were hurting her that and the foods, a lot of sensitivity. The body just went. I was like, cool. So I answered you. I'm just mindful. Please, what you don't do is, listen to an infomercial and go, oh, yeah, I have all those symptoms. I'm just going to go take that because these things interact and a lot of them are garbage. So, but for sure, fixing the gut. Okay. I'll just kind of,
no. And I have a program as well. And we have a 2-week detox. And again, our body's always detoxing, right? But like this detox just helps enhance your natural process. We take out some crap, right? It's not a rigorous, like I've done pretty strict detoxes and I'm just like, that's not sustainable. I'm like, I want something that doesn't feel hard. I had one woman lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks and she said, holy water. And I was like, it's all inflammation. It was 15 pounds of.
Is that scary? How much pain she was in? The body was like safe to let go of it. Safe to let go.
15 pounds because we cut out common food sensitivities and we kind of, we tweaked a couple other things and it's like, wow, isn't that amazing? So like the power of decreasing inflammation, just like your client, like 60 pounds, that wasn't all fat, but like a lot of it probably was inflammation, water retention, water drain. And you physically shrink. I mean, water has, we all feel swollen and bloated.
Oh yeah. The fat loss comes over time and you build muscle and you burn the fat and then you get lean the way we feel, but 100%.
I love this. This has been a great conversation. And, I bookend the interview with just personal question. And the final question is, what's one thing that now that you wish you knew as the expert you are today? What, like, you wish you knew, maybe even 20 years ago, because it's been 20 years that you've been in this business.
Cool. I always say first answer, right answer. So I'm going to say, there are no mistakes. I made a mistake. I fell off again. No, you didn't. What'd you learn? And do it a little bit better tomorrow. That is how the sugar freedom method came. I've made 1,000,001 mistakes more than everyone else. I gained 1,000,001 pieces of wisdom from there weren't mistakes. They actually got me here so I can help all these women for the rest of my life. It's never a mistake. I tell my kids, that wasn't a mistake. What'd you learn? What'd you learn? Listen, keep failing. I tell my kids, you're not failing enough. Oh, I'm doing great. Okay, well, play chess. with someone harder than you.
Mhm.
Learn something. Fail. I always say fail up.
Mhm.
I fail up every day. I mess that up. I'm failing up.
Mhm.
I don't get where I am right after 20 years, and I failed a lot. I just didn't see it that way. I was like, okay, what did I learn? Moving on. Moving on. Please just keep moving on. That's what
I
I
love
want to
that.
leave you with. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so good. I love that.
Good.
Yeah, I
Good.
wish I had known that as a younger person
Oh,
myself,
fail
right?
up, man. Fail up.
You never fail. It's always like something, you always learn
Wisdom.
a lesson. Yeah. Yep.
Love
So
that.
I'm sure my audience absolutely loves you by now. So like just where can they find you? Where do you like to hang out? Are you, is it just your website? Do you have social
I
media
love
platforms?
that. I'm everywhere. What's great is when I say simple, fun, and easy, I'm literally Jenn Edden, 2 N's, 2 D's on Instagram, huge Facebook. I'm in there. Please send me a message if you like, Jen. I saw you here, and if you have a question. And my website is jecoaching.com. There's a class you can learn about the method, and I teach you in 27 minutes. Free download. It's no joke, just like talking today. And you just get to learn all the pieces of the method. I give it to you. Anything you want to do after that is all you. So
I love that.
yeah,
I love that.
thank
Yeah.
you.
I think
Thank
we're
you.
both in this field just to, educate,
Let's go.
inform, and what you can do on your own, great. And if you need help, we're here, right?
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Real Heal and that you learned something new. And with that, I'm out of here. Talk to you again soon.